Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another video series from us here at UJ Blockchain. This video will be on Django, the web development framework. It's a Python web development framework, right? So let's get started. I'm gonna introduce you to what Django is and what web frameworks are, right? So this is like I said, right? So essentially we plan to create a series of videos where we essentially do web development using Django, right? So this is the first of those videos. This is the first video of those series. So we're going to continue building on our knowledge, and then the projects that we build become more complex as we go along. So first of all, you don't need much experience. You don't have to have prior experience with Django, but however, you'll have to have some basic understanding of Python, some core development, web development concepts. And if you would like to brush up on these, we also have videos on our YouTube site. The link will be in the descriptions to our Python course and our web development videos as well. So before I continue, let me explain to you what a web framework is. Now, what is a web framework, right? So a web framework or web application framework is a pre-built application that includes libraries, right? Software tools, and usually best practices that assist the overall development of web applications, right? So it kind of simplifies the whole process of web development, right? It removes the burden of building from scratch, right? That web developers would have to do if there were no web frameworks, right? So now, what I put it now. So why do we have web frameworks, right? So web frameworks they help to improve maintainability and the efficiency of your software development of the process, right? And like I mentioned, it reduces the burden, right, of the whole process of developing a web application or website. And websites and applications that are built with frameworks usually scale well because they are built with best practices and they are reliable and can be maintained easily, right? So now you have two types of frameworks, right? You have front end, which is the client side, and the back end server side, right? We deal with the server, right? So the front end, the client is essentially what you use to view the website or the web application. This can be like a browser on your laptop or on your phone, right? So the front end frameworks are essentially, they deal with the user interface, right? And the customer side interactions, right? So they operate in the customer's browser and are responsible for managing like the user interactions and rendering the content on the website or the website, and essentially to boost overall user experience, right? Some examples of this are Angular, Vue.js, React, Ember.js, which are JavaScript frameworks. And then now let's move on to our back-end server-side frameworks, right? So these frameworks focus on server-side logic of web applications, right? So they're responsible for essentially managing server operations like database communication and processing whatever the client side requests, right? Client side requests. So like as a web developer, you can benefit from the bus security and functionality and data management inherent in these networks. Because remember I said like in this framework, sorry, not networks. Remember I said that these frameworks are built with like the best practices in mind. So when that also includes security. Examples of this include from Microsoft ASP.NET, Ruby on Rails, Express.js, and Django, right? And also Laravel as well, which is a PHP framework, right? So what are the benefits of having a web framework, right? So it's for streamlined development, right? So web frameworks streamline the development procedure by offering templates, right? So you don't have to, you can save time by using these templates and you can jumpstart your project. And these templates usually include like common code features. So you can save time and to get to actually building the customization or the unique selling point of your website, right? And then speed and efficiency, right? So because they're streamlined, right? Developers can build applications with quick turnaround times with less amount of written code, and the frameworks just does all the heavy lifting. The developer doesn't have to worry about all the intricacies that's happening on below, right? If they did, you would have to spend a lot more time in the development process, right? So integrated security, right? So frameworks are equipped with security features to address common security pitfalls, right? So where some areas that like is common, and I guess potential bad actors would try and exploit these vulnerabilities. So the frameworks have this all covered, right? And they ensure that the applications deployed are essentially protected from these potential vulnerabilities, right? And then community support, which is always great to have, right? Python, if you're on Python, you would enjoy the community support, and as well with other languages as well. They're not just single out Python, right? So frameworks usually have support from communities and developers who offer code resources and support, right? So you're not left onto your own devices. If you struggle with something, I'm sure there's somebody else who has struggled with the same thing, and there is going to be some sort of community who will be able to assist you, right? Or you'll be able to see someone who's also encountered that challenge before. Enhance performance, right, and scalability, right? Frameworks provide a structure for application development, right, and that are optimized for scalability and performance, right? And then the last one, testing and debugging, which is always very important before you ship your code out to customers to users. This is a process that you need to do either at the end. I suggest you do it in an iterative manner. So you do it as you continue, as you build your project. You don't just wait till the end to test out the whole thing. You should still test out the whole thing, but it will be less daunting if you have done it stage by stage by stage by stage, right? So there are several tools available to simplify the process of testing and debugging code when you use these frameworks. Again, so drawbacks of frameworks, okay? So not everything is perfect, right? The learning curve, right? Some of these, depending on which framework you use, the learning curve might be different, right? Some are more steeper than others, and essentially developers have to take the time to learn the practices and conventions specific to each framework, right? Okay, so you have to learn like with everything else, but this shouldn't deter you from using frameworks. And then you have flexibility, right? Unfortunately, like flexibility can be limited when using web frameworks. So you can't really customize to the level that you would be able to if you were building from scratch, right? So you have to kind of work within you kind of have to work within the framework of the framework. Okay. So like some frameworks, they can limit like certain design choices, or it can be quite difficult to actually customize, right? So that's a quite a big drawback. Overhead performance, right? The overhead, right? So since at their core, like web frameworks are essentially software programs, so there's going to be some overhead, right? And that's going to be happening, like some abstraction layers that you can't see, but it will actually cause some overhead, right? For your application, because these things have to run in the background. And then compatibility and updates, like with every software, you have to look up for compatibility and updates to ensure that you're not left behind, right, with the application. And resource consumption, right? Some of these frameworks can consume more server resources than customized coding solutions, okay? So these are some of the drawbacks of frameworks. Now let's move to like Django, right? We have a Django, all right? So now, yeah, let's get to it. So yeah, Django is a high level Python web framework that encourages rapid development and clean pragmatic design, right? Benefits of Django, right? It's fast, right? So Django essentially was designed to assist developers to expedite the process of concept to completion. So you can have like an MVP, a minimum viable product in no time. It's secure. It has inbuilt features which assist like developers avoid common security pitfalls. It's scalable and it's versatile, right? So Django is versatile in helping you to deploy or build different types of applications, such as CMSs or content management systems, social networks, and scientific computing platforms, and also e-commerce sites, right? So Django is quite versatile.